If someone told you that one of the most astonishing survival stories in American history began with a blast louder than a cannon and ended with a child holding pieces of the heavens in her hands, you might think it's fiction. But the night the sky fell over a small town in Alabama twice remains one of the most mysterious and least discussed real events in U.S. history. And at the heart of this true story is a housewife, a farmhouse, and a rock older than Earth itself. On November 30, 1954, the people of Sylacauga, Alabama, were going about their day under a sky so clear you could count the clouds. Then, without warning, a blazing fireball split the heavens, a meteor streaking across the southeastern United States at nearly 20,000 miles per hour. Bright enough to cast shadows and hot enough to burn the sky blue-white, it was visible from Mississippi to the Carolina coast. For a moment, daylight returned, brighter than noon, followed by a crackling boom that shook windows across 3 states. Among those startled was 34-year-old Ann Elizabeth Hodges, a quiet woman living with her husband, Eugene, in a modest farmhouse. Ann had been resting on her living room couch, wrapped in a quilt, unaware that she was seconds away from becoming part of history. The fireball, which astronomers later confirmed to be a fragment of a 4.5 billion-year-old asteroid, the meteorite, which weighed about 8.5 pounds, sparked one of the strangest property disputes in U.S. history. Ann Hodges believed it was hers. The thing fell on her, injured her, and crashed through her roof. But her landlord, a widow named Bertie Guy, argued that the meteorite belonged to her because it landed inside her property. Suddenly, this cosmic rock became the center of a legal battle. Public interest skyrocketed so fast that Life magazine published photos of Ann posing with the mysterious stone. Offers poured in. Collectors were willing to pay enough money for the rock to buy a new house, a car, and give the Hodges a completely different life. But by the time the Air Force completed its tests and returned the meteorite, months had passed, public excitement had cooled, and the meteorite's value had plummeted. In the end, after negotiation, the landlords got the wish. They demanded that Ann Hodges pay $500, about $5,600 today, to keep the meteorite, the same object that had injured her. She reluctantly agreed, but by then, the market for it had collapsed. One potential buyer, who once offered thousands, now backed out completely. The meteorite that might have made her wealthy became instead a financial burden. Ann Hodges eventually donated it to the Alabama Museum of Natural History in 1956, where it still sits today, dark, pitted, and surprisingly ordinary looking for something with such an extraordinary story. But here's where the story gets even stranger. Most people don't know that the fall of the Hodges meteorite wasn't the only celestial event that day. Just hours earlier, only a few miles away, another local man named Julius Buddy McKinney discovered a second fragment of the same meteorite, this one resting in the woods behind his property. Unlike Ann's meteorite,